Liv Flaherty in Emmerdale has been a thorn in Paul Ashdale's side recently, and as she continues to grow suspicious of his actions, the huge secret that Paul has been abusing his son Vinny Dingle could be discovered. Following another brutal attack by his father, Vinny is now in hospital. Upcoming episodes will see Paul panic when he hears from Aaron that Liv is already at the hospital and has called the police about Vinny's attack. When Paul eventually arrives, he criticizes Liv for calling the police, leaving her suspicious and questions Paul's inaction. She could be the one who figures out Vinny is being abused by his dad, and as Isabel Steele recently revealed, Liv's discovery could also put her in danger. Yes, she's absolutely in danger, and I think that she doesn't really know what's coming. But I think the reason there's such a wedge between them is because she sees it as fairly black and white, which is I want to know what happened, the truth, and it's that simple. But I think Vinny knows is obviously not that simple and fears for Liv because he loves her and he wants to protect her, but it's so difficult to communicate that without expressing that there's something wrong. I think he's really on edge about her finding out in case that she's in danger. I think he knows that Paul would go that far and doesn't really have any limits when it comes to trying to keep him and Mandy together and keeping it all hush-hush. So definitely fear is on his side, but there's determination on Liv's side, and it's frustrating because they're not communicating properly. And it's just difficult to tell someone that without saying that they're clearly in danger. Liv's suspicions about Paul will leave her concerned and fearing for Vinny. Isabel continued her chat, mentioning how Liv picking up on Paul's strange behavior is a definite sign that something isn't right. I think Liv is quite good at spotting when someone's acting shifty, for sure. But I don't think she's always brilliant at knowing where the pieces fit in the puzzle, so to speak. So I think that she definitely feels that something's off with the relationships and both the way that Paul's acting, and rightly so. But I don't know if she has put together yet because it seems like such a huge accusation to go around saying if you don't have the right evidence. But so far I don't think it's even crossed Liv's mind. I think she's seeing how things go and questioning things and assessing his behavior. But I really don't think that it's clicked quite yet. Desperate to keep his violent and abusive behavior towards his son a secret, Paul is terrified when he discovers Liv has called the police, and as Isabel added, Paul is ready to do whatever he can to keep his secret hidden, even if that means sabotaging Vinny's relationship with Liv. He's very on edge throughout this whole storyline, because Liv gets so close all the time to figuring things out, and she's the only one who sort of pushes it. I think Mandy gets given the excuses and kind of lays back. But Liv is determined to find out why, and she will double question things, and that makes him feel really anxious. And then we have a scene in the hospital, where Paul finds out Liv's called the police, and he gets really defensive, but because he's clever, he switches around onto Liv and she's made to look like someone who's lost her mind. When Liv is faced with that, she does question herself, and it sort of takes her off track a little bit. He's very good at flipping it around and driving a wedge between Vinny and Liv. Emmerdale's Liv Flaherty has just put herself in grave danger after calling the police in the aftermath of the attack of Vinny Dingle. The good news for fans of the ITV soap is that Vinny has regained consciousness in hospital. But the bad news is that evil Paul Ashdale is now issuing not-so-veiled threats about murdering Vinny's nearest and dearest should he blab. Not realizing that it was actually Paul who gave Vinny a pasting, Liv was last seen contacting the authorities. But mere minutes before, Paul had made it plain to his beleaguered offspring that should the truth come out, there was no saying what he'd do in response, hinting that he might kill Liv, Vinny, Mandy and even himself. So the big question now is, will Paul end up silencing Liv permanently to avoid getting punished for his crimes? Next week's episodes of Emmerdale will certainly find Paul continuing to pile the pressure on Vinny, who ultimately becomes too scared to reveal all to the police. But when Paul chastises Liv for having alerted the forces of law and order in the first place, she grows suspicious. Determined to get justice for Vinny in the face of what she sees as Paul's inaction, Liv insists that the attacker must be found. But her outburst leads to Paul deciding to drive a wedge between Vinny and Liv, telling his son that if he'd better get her off their backs or else. And when Paul uses words like, or else, he does tend to make good on his threats. But please Emmerdale writers, protect Liv at all costs. We insist that she must not be harmed. Paul Ashdale in Emmerdale has left son Vinny in pain countless times after attacking him every time he tries to confront his dad. Vinny has been hiding the fact that Paul is abusing him from everyone, but could that come to end soon when Liv Flaherty grows suspicious? Or will Paul put a stop to his secret being exposed when he kills Liv to silence her? Paul's panicked to hear from Aaron that Liv's already at the hospital and has called the police about Vinny's attack. At the hospital, Vinny is on the verge of confessing all to the police when he sees Paul approaching and clams up, leaving the police unable to proceed. When Paul criticizes Liv for calling the police, she's suspicious. Determined to stick up for Vinny, she insists they do something and questions Paul's inaction. Later, when Liv arrives at the Dingles, Vinny's wary to be alone with her. KG Vinny tries to stick to Paul's story but panics when Liv mentions Connor. Before suspicious Liv can probe any further, Paul returns and tells Vinny to get Liv off their backs, or else. Will Vinny listen to Paul? Is Paul really capable of killing Liv in order to keep his abusive secret hidden?